What's up guys, it's T-Tart. Today we're going to be looking at more of your DLC theories, but first, let's start off with something that I covered in my last video, the theory that Heath is a time traveler. So there's a bunch of options to what could have happened to Heath at the end of his story after everyone called him a liar. For example, he could have died of old age living out the rest of his years, or he could have gone back in the crater, which opens a bunch of other possibilities. One funny idea is that if Heath did have like a great grandson, look at what Heath looks like, and look at what Clavell looks like. Now, I ain't saying Clavell is Heath, but that is a hell of a look. As implied in Scarlet and Violet, Clavell does go to Area Zero with Professor Sada and Turo and knows about their plans to make a time machine and all. So, if it was Heath's descendant, it's interesting that he was drawn back to Area Zero before he goes and runs the academy. Honestly, I think this DLC is about to be so fun lore-wise. Let's ask y'all in the comments, do you think Clavell is Heath's great-grandson? Is Heath? Or is a random dude? Let's look at your theories. I'm just half kidding, guys. Here we got B Summerman. His idea is that the gyms in Paldea somehow make a turtle face. The center of the Pokeball is the eye, and the wave on the bottom right is him opening his mouth. Okay, you know, you're not wrong. I mean, it's not a turtle, but it does look oddly aquatic, like a boat. I think it's mountains, land, and sea, but it could also just look like a boat. We know Gamefreak's having fun with this game, so maybe this logo does mean something. Next up, we got Sick Lurcy. So they have a take on what Terapagos' power really is that isn't related to time travel or dreams. They're saying Terapagos' power is the power of duplication, and that the Blueberry Academy created this machine that just takes Pokemon and enhances them and duplicates them, which goes along with Ku saying there's something like PK Hex in this DLC where you can just generate a Pokemon. And then they give us some reasons to believe this. One, Gamefreak gave us Pokemon like Brute Bonnet on purpose. They wouldn't exist naturally, so this is a big problem with Paradox Pokemon. Brute Bonnet is a Pokeball mushroom Pokemon because humans invented them in the first place. I heard some people say that the creator of Pokeballs based it off Amoonguss. There's no way, bro. Why would he pick freaking Amoonguss? In truth, if they were to create Brute Bonnet, he should not have the Pokeball patterns. It should just be like a smooth mushroom, which would draw the picture perfectly for us. Start off as a normal mushroom, eventually adapted to look like a Pokeball. Another one that could be looked at as weird is Magneton and Sandy Shocks. Magneton is a Pokemon that looks like it was made accidentally in a lab. Like in whatever lab they were cloning Mewtwo in, a bunch of magnets got together, came to life, and created Magneton. Because if you look at Magneton's design, it has human invented magnets on it and screws. But then go back to 10,000 years, which is what Heath's imagination describes Sandy Shocks as. There are magnets and screws, even though they weren't invented yet. Now, there are glimpses of ancient civilizations in Pokemon, like the Celestica people described in Legends Arceus. And then, you know, we have AZ when he was king 3,000 years ago, the Paldean king 2,000 years ago. But so far, we don't have proof that they were as sophisticated as us to have like made these inventions. Obviously, of all the Pokemon Game Freak could have chosen to give Paradox forms to, they chose some odd ones. It seems on purpose. With Magneton, they could have just shown it was this natural looking rock creature, and then we could understand that over time it evolved to take whatever magnets and all humans made. But this is why it's exciting, because I'm pretty sure Game Freak will answer this in the DLC, and we're gonna learn what Paradox Pokemon really are. We have so many theories now: duplication, dreams, or actually time travelers. Alright, next up we got Gage. So they linked the tweet that Ku made, where Ku was playing with ChatGPT, which is an AI, and he types laughing and legendary AI Pokemon when. Now, Ku does have fun on his Twitter sometimes, not everything is a hint, but we do have AIs in the main story of the game. So this person's theory is, what if Sada and Turo found an AI legendary Pokemon that they reverse engineered? Now, obviously this sounds crazy, but what it would probably imply is that it's a man-made Pokemon made by the ancient Paldean people that was just in Area Zero, and that Sada and Turo reverse engineer it to make their clones. It is an odd question. What is Terapagos' crystals? Somehow the professor was able to make two completely separate inventions. I mean, I don't believe this. The AI Pokemon they capture would have to be some like robotic looking Terapagos for it to match their descriptions of the hexagon shells and all. Alright, here we got Miraculous Owl. They have a theory about what Ogrepon really is. I believe that Ogrepon is a Paradox Sableye. It's similar in appearance. Are they similar? I mean, I guess, bro. They both appear to be mischievous Pokemon. I mean, we don't know anything about Ogrepon. We haven't even seen his face. In fact, when I look at the glimpse we have behind his mask, it looks like he's a sad Pokemon. In truth, I thought Ogrepon at first looked like a Meloetta. Could you imagine if you're playing the first DLC, the mask comes off and it's like a freaking variant Meloetta? I'm kidding. It's a freaking Oni. Moreover, Paradox Pokemon have left Area 0. Example, Great Tusk and Iron Treads. So it isn't impossible for a Paradox Sableye to also escape. Oh my god. No way, bro. The DLC legendary being a freaking Sableye. What happened to your counterpart Mawile, man? Lastly, the name Teal Mask is very similar to the naming scheme of past Pokemon. I didn't even freaking think of that. Yo! So you fight freaking Paradox Sableye and it says Wild Teal Mask appeared. I'm kidding. Nah, stop. What is this theory? So Ogrepon's true name might be Teal Mask, and the reason it's called Ogrepon is because it's been living in Kitakami. It has a name, just like Kratom and Rhydon have a name. Okay. You know what? I don't think it's a Sableye, but I think it might be called Teal Mask. It's Paradox's name. But is the Pokemon the Teal Mask, or is it the mask itself? Because the mask seems like it's the cause of the problem. In that case, he didn't even mention this, but what Sableyes do is steal gems. So what if it's a Paradox Sableye that sneakily went to Area 0's depths and stole this gem mask, and now the dude is possessed by it? Ah, no, get this theory out of here. Alright, here we got Vullaby. Just saw your video for Heath being a time traveler. If we go with your theory, is it possible that Heath also lost his youth and is still present in the current time period? Maybe Director Clavell is Heath. Clavell, bro. Could you imagine this man pretends to be Clive? And we think we've totally seen through his disguise, but his entire real appearance is a disguise. We don't know too much about Clavell's past, and the school was the only place where the last copy of Scarlet and Violet books are present. This is true. Why does the school keep the Scarlet and Violet book? Isn't that like a socially unaccepted book? Wouldn't you be cancelled if you were caught carrying that book? I guess he's saying maybe Clavell put the book in the academy because he wrote it. He's like, I want it to be here. Here we got Broad 2. So remember Heath describes that in his trance, he felt like he talked to someone in the crater. What if the someone Heath met in the crater was the AI professor? Okay, he's trying to say Heath saw a vision of the future. Like somewhere in the future, as Sod and Tor are working on the machine, they're able to connect to Heath and cause that trance to happen. Let's see what he says. So how this solves the paradox. 1. The AI professor went into the time machine in our time. Terapagos messes with time travel, resulting in the professor going to a random timeless place, which is where Heath wanders off to. Okay, so they're saying Heath 200 years ago, when he goes in the trance, he enters a void land. So he's saying when the AIs try to use the time machine at the end of the game, that Terapagos messes with them and sends them to the timeless world that he also had Heath visit 200 years ago. So they cross over before Heath goes back to his time. What, Terapagos is a troll? Then AI professor gives Heath details about the equations. What? Wait, you're saying the equations Heath drew were from AI Sod and Turo, but AI Sod and Turo only know the equations because Heath gave it to them. Then who wrote the equations in the first place? Then Heath writes about it in his scribbled notes with no recollection of how he knows this stuff. It's a time loop caused by Terapagos messing with time to allow AI prof. This is really weird, man. I wouldn't hate if this happened. So he describes Terapagos here as like a devious Pokemon that likes to mess with people that come to Area 0, which is how this loop would happen. Alright, I don't believe this theory, but this theory sounds pretty sick. I do have some cool theories of my own that I want to make a video on. I'll do that soon. Alright, here we got Back X. So he talks about something we talked on stream about, which is that Blueberry Academy might be near Unova. And this is of course because Blueberry Academy, unlike our academy, is written in English. Which means when they say you're going overseas to Blueberry Academy, that you're probably going to an English-speaking region, which the only ones we have right now are Unova and Alola. Another thing that's interesting about this is even in Japanese, Blueberry Academy is still called Blueberry Academy. Wouldn't it be a very American thing to do to build an underground academy? Hey, yo, what are you implying? Lastly, if I recall right, there was an underwater tunnel somewhere in Unova, which could make sense. Okay, yeah, it's the marine tube. This is a place at the very right side of Unova, where you're in this tube underwater, and you can see kind of the ocean floor around you. Blueberry Academy could be right beside that. So just technically near Unova right now. It's not that we're gonna visit Unova in the second DLC, but maybe if you talk around to the people, they say, oh yeah, we're docked in Unova right now. And maybe you get like a cameo of a Unovan character coming over. Like, where the frick did the protagonist go? I would love to meet him. He's like the new Red. Another cool thing about Unova is there's that abyssal ruins around Undella Bay, all these diving spots. It would be interesting if they are actually docked on top of like the abyssal ruins or something. And so the second DLC having this English tone to it has a cool parallel to the first DLC having the Japanese vibe to it with the kimonos and the statues. It'd be cool if the first DLC where you go to Kitakami is near Johto, which is where we get all these Japanese traditions shown to us in Pokemon, and the second DLC is near Unova. And just as a tidbit, those are the two Paradox legendaries. If the theory that Terapagos is a dream Pokemon is actually true, it'd make a lot of sense if Blueberry Academy is near Unova. My goodness. Alright, I'm about to seriously divide the comments. Who believes in time travel and who believes in dreams? Which theory is real? It'd be very interesting if the first DLC was near Johto and the second was near Unova, and you get a bit of lore on the respective legendaries. So maybe in the Kitakami DLC, you hear an extended story of the legendary beast legend, and maybe that the original legend we know was just a fallacy, a made-up story to hype up Ho-Oh, and that there's an actual different origin to the legendary beasts. Then you go to Blueberry and they tell you lore about the Swords of Justice, and maybe there's more to their story than we know. Alright, that's it. There's a bunch more theories you guys sent me, so we'll go through them next time, and I'll see you on the next video. Take care. I'll upload Extreme soon too, man.